There's been times in my life where I have felt stuck, I've felt lost, unmotivated, things have just been kind of chaotic. And this book, 12 Rules for Life, has really helped me bring about a little bit of order into my life. If you've seen my channel, you know that I love rules, and I think the rules in this book are some of the best ones. They're a lot kind of deeper than the ones I normally talk about, but honestly, they really change my mindset, how I think, and in turn, how I act. So while I'm not just gonna be doing an outline of the book, I'm kind of sharing some little takeaways that really stuck with me. So even if you've read this, I think these are really good reminders. So let's just jump into the first point. The noble victim. Honestly, this was probably the biggest takeaway for me from this book. This and actually the last point that I'm gonna be talking about. So make sure you stick around till the end. A lot of times we look at other people or we even do this to ourselves as the noble victim. If bad stuff is happening, it's easy to blame other people for it. It's easy to say that they are in bad circumstances, they got dealt a bad deck, it's somebody else's fault, it's the government's fault, it's those people, it's somebody else besides yourself or their self, when in reality, that's actually the least likely explanation. Take extreme ownership. If you look at bad things that have happened in your life and you track them back far enough, it'll probably be because of a decision that you made. Maybe it was years ago that you are now paying for, or something you didn't do. And when you look at things this way, a lot of people like to see themselves or other people as the noble victim. But when you do that, you actually strip away all power from that person, because you're saying that they have no control. You have no control over all this bad stuff that's happening to you, and therefore you can't really change anything because it's out of your control. But if you say, you know what, this is probably something that I did, let me look at how I can change my own life, because that's something you can actually take action on, then there's no more blaming, and you can take extreme ownership and actually change your life for the better instead of always blaming other people for your problems. Treat yourself like you are somebody you are responsible for. As a people, we generally take pretty crappy care of ourselves in general. We won't eat right, we won't go to bed on time, we won't exercise, we won't do things to better our lives. And yet, if it's, let's say, our children, you wouldn't feed them junk food even if they wanted it, just because it would make them happy, or most of the things that kids want, and yet we do that for ourselves. We have to kind of take a step back and do what is in the best interest for us, even if it's not the thing that will bring us immediate gratification, but instead kind of direct ourselves into doing things that will make us feel better tomorrow, will make us stronger and smarter and have better relationships tomorrow, and not just think about what's going on today. All right, the next point is actually these 3 self-care questions. Just take a second and ask yourself, what might your life look like if you actually cared for yourself properly? That would be, would you have more energy? Would you have more free time to do things that you care about? What would it look like? And then ask yourself, what career would challenge me and render me productive and helpful so that I could shoulder my share of the load and enjoy the consequences? And lastly, what should I be doing in my free time to improve my health, my knowledge, and my strength? A lot of us, when we have free time, we almost literally burn it on social media, watching TV, just wasting our time. How can you take that time and actually improve your life so that tomorrow is better than today? Friendships. If you have a friendship that you wouldn't recommend to your father or your sister or your daughter, then maybe you shouldn't have that friendship. A lot of people stick with friends that they know are a negative influence on their life out of loyalty, but a friendship is supposed to be something that is reciprocal. You encourage each other, kind of like an iron sharpening iron type deal. But if it's a negative thing and you know that it pulls you down and keeps you back in life, then don't stay in that relationship out of loyalty and support someone who's making the world a worse place just because that's what you've done and that's the easy thing to do. The future Mammoth. Save some of the Mammoth for later. He talks about kind of the origins of delayed gratification, which is more of a story than factual. Let's say you're back in olden times and you kill a mammoth and you have more than you can actually eat yourself right now. So this might be where delayed gratification starts. Well, you have more than you need right now. You can't really store the rest for later, so you give it to your friends around you in hopes that one day when they kill a mammoth and you're hungry, they will do the same thing for you, and you're really just investing in building your reputation by helping other people. And you're also practicing delayed gratification, where maybe you could stuff yourselves and hoard it and kind of show off that you have more stuff than everybody right now, but instead you're sacrificing right now for the future. And people who do practice delayed gratification generally are a lot happier and a lot more successful. I know for me, doing this through frugal living was one of the biggest impacts on my life that actually gave me a lot of freedom through kind of sacrificing some pleasures in the present moment. By the way, if you're getting any value out of this, it would honestly mean a ton to me if you could subscribe. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday and not who somebody else is today. This is one of the easiest traps to fall into. I've fallen into this over and over. When you see other people on social media, it's so prevalent right now. You see the results of years of hard work. You don't see the day-to-day progression. So focus on being better in the slightest possible way today than you were yesterday, and just keep that going forward and watch how your life changes. Start stopping today. This pretty much means start stopping what you know to be wrong. Most of us know what we're doing that is wrong, that is holding us back from living just a better quality of life. Maybe it's spending too much time on social media, it's procrastinating, watching too much TV, overeating, not taking care of our body. Take a look at your life and you know something that you should stop doing, and start stopping doing that today. Don't be a monkey. There's this old story about how to kind of catch a monkey in the wild, and that is to get a jar, something that's heavy that the monkey can't really lift, and then you put maybe a rock or something interesting inside that jar. So when the monkey puts its paw in, it grabs it and then it can't pull its paw back out. And then you just go and you can like pick up the monkey, because it will refuse to let go of what's in its hand, even if it means it loses its freedom. Ask yourself what you are holding on to so hard that it is fun, is cool, is unique, that is keeping you from having freedom. How to find what you should do next. Make the world a better place at the top of your value hierarchy. In that way, what you should actually do will become a lot more clear. Just asking yourself, how can I use my time that will make the world a better place? And it doesn't have to be huge stuff, but things will just start to present themselves. Maybe it's to declutter a room so it's more inviting and less stressful. That would make your world a little bit of a better place. Maybe it's doing the dishes, cooking dinner. What are those little things that you can do with your time that will make your environment, the world around you, a little bit of a better place? Always tell the truth. Taking the easy way out or telling the truth are not only two different choices, they're really two different ways of living your life. They are completely different ways of existing. So even when it might make things a little bit awkward, or you're trying to do it for somebody else, or it's just simpler to lie, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. You need to fight with your partner. This sounds like bad advice, but hear me out. A lot of times we will not say anything to our partner, and it's because we think that we are doing the right thing. If there's an issue or they're doing something and you remain silent and you convince yourself that it's because you are a peace-loving person, you're being the bigger person here, and you just sweep it under the rug, then that monster that's under the rug gets a little bit bigger. And if you continue to do that over years, eventually that monster is going to come out of the rug and it's going to eat you. Like, that was just a terrible analogy that I used there. But honestly, this is something that I've been working on recently. When somebody says something that you don't agree with, or it's hurtful in some way, instead of just brushing it under the rug and then kind of harboring some resentment, have a conversation with them, have an argument with peace as the goal at the end of that argument or that conversation. You're not trying to hurt them back, you're trying to get peace. You need to define success. So a lot of us won't define success, because if we do that, then we're also defining what failure is. And if we don't reach this success, then we are a failure. So to eliminate us seeing ourselves as a failure, we will never be a success. We will never try to be a success, because we will never define what success is. But even if we do this, we will know deep down that there is something that we could have been that we are not. And that's honestly something that's been really driving for me, is making sure that, 10 years from now or whatever, I don't look back and say, I could have been this if I had just tried for it, but I never tried for it because I was scared of failing at it, and therefore I missed out on ever even having an opportunity. It's a scary thought. Compassion as a vice. A lot of people out there who are compassionate kind of to a fault, and it ends up hurting themselves and those around them when you are the person that will never confront those around them when they're doing something wrong, when you never speak up for yourself when things are unfair. You don't only cripple yourself and hurt yourself emotionally, you hold back those around you from having accountability for actions that are not okay. So while compassion is a really important and good thing, just make sure you're not taking it too far and kind of letting it ruin your life. Intolerance of others' views. He actually says this really well, so I'm just gonna quote him. Intolerance of others' views, no matter how ignorant or incoherent they may be, is not simply wrong. In a world where there is no right or wrong, it is worse. It is a sign that you are embarrassingly unsophisticated or possibly dangerous. There's a lot of people who don't like Jordan Peterson and have probably never read any of his books, but just they hear something, they see a news article, and that's why they're not going to like him. So while I don't agree with everything that he says, it's important to actually not just shut people off or try to block them or pretend that they don't exist if you don't agree with them, but instead have conversations and see if you can glean something from other people and not just kind of block them off because you just don't want to hear what they have to say. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. Posture actually makes a huge difference in your emotion. If you don't believe me, you can just try this right now. If you stand up with your shoulders back, you loosen up, you have a confident pose, you feel more confident. Just like that's all you need to do. You feel more confident. So if you're sitting down, you're slouching right now, try sitting up straight. You will suddenly feel more confident. You'll feel more motivated. Really focus on your posture. It'll change how other people see you. It'll change how you see yourself by doing something so stupidly simple as standing up straight with your shoulders back. You don't get who you want, you get who you are. This is really just the idea that actions speak louder than words. So really, if you're not the person who you want to be right now, then you need to start doing things that are the person that you want to be. You need to start changing who you are by doing more, even though I have do less on my hand right now. But when I wanted to become someone who reads books, I started reading a page of a book every single day. And eventually I became a book reader by taking actions and showing myself that I am someone who reads books. I am someone who eats well. I am somebody who goes to the gym. And you become those people by doing. This book has helped me a ton. If you're somebody who has depression, there's a bunch of really good info in here. Even just doing things as basic as waking up at the same time every day can really help with depression. He's a very smart person, has a lot of great insights. So I'd highly recommend this book. Honestly, it helped me. If you enjoyed this kind of summary, don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you're trying to take action and start investing, then I also have an Investing 101 free course that you can check out. There's a link down below, and I'll see you next week.